Hey everyone, Coach Investor back to another video for today. So, Tesla's Investor Day. You've probably heard already a couple of arguments, a couple of opinions when it comes to that. I like to put the, let's say, investors or the sideshow people into two categories. Camp number one is the disappointed investors that are basically disappointed to not have seen the next-gen vehicle and are saying that this presentation, this Investor Day was just a waste of time because everything that they mentioned we already knew, which, if we're being honest, is incorrect. Then camp number two is investors that are saying, well, wow, we've learned a lot of new things. Tesla is going to be extremely profitable in the future. It's probably going to be the most valuable company on the planet. The future is bright. And when it comes to the next-gen platform, they actually gave us enough hints for us to be, well, satisfied, let's say, right now. Of course, we know that there is going to be another event, probably, I don't know, a product day or a product unveiling event, where they are going to talk about that next-gen vehicle. And by the way, if you've seen the presentation, if not, that's fine, we're going to talk about that in this video. But it's not going to be one vehicle. It's going to be a couple of vehicles. Of course, in the presentation, we've seen two vehicles under wraps, one that looks like a van, and the other one which probably will be the Model 2. But I don't think it will stop with that. During the presentation, they basically said it's not going to be one or two models. It's going to be multiple models. So, what camp are you in? Camp number one or camp number two? Let me know down in the comments below. And of course, your thoughts, your expectations, were they met, were they not met? Let me know down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this type of videos, leave it a thumbs up, subscribe if you have not. And if you want to support me even further, do check out the link down in the description and in the pinned comment to get the top best stuff to buy now, or go to follow.com/couchinvestor. So let's get this party started. But first, actually, I want to touch on this right here from Talking Tesla on Twitter. This is basically showing us how the stock fared 5 days before an event, the day after the event, and 5 days after. So what you can clearly see here on average, 5 days before the event, the stock is up around 1.49%. The day after the event, the stock is down 0.29%. 5 days after an event occurred, the stock is up 1.87% on average. If you want to pause the screen and look at it further, please do so, or go on Twitter and follow Talking Tesla. Now, starting with Master Plan 3, right? It was basically a plan to eliminate fossil fuels. Now they give us a, let's say, sort of roadmap how each category will help to reach that goal of being self-sustainable, they say by 2050, around that time. Now, of course, I know a lot of people will want to talk about planes and boats, but that's probably years away because currently that's not really going to move the needle that much. Of course, if you've followed, let's say, Palantir around, you know that Hyundai already talked about new types of boats, Oceanwise, a software program. Now, to me, planes, boats, that's nice. But again, this is something that won't really matter much today. Today, they rather focus on the first two categories, which is basically the energy side of the business and the electric vehicle side of the business, which should be, well, and will become the biggest parts of the business, but not the biggest. Because they did say that, well, Elon said that the robot side of the business is pretty misunderstood right now, and that's probably going to be worth more than the car business. But more on that later on. Now, circling back to the EV side of things, we can now see on the slide here two cars under a sheet, right? A van, sort of van, and probably the Model 2. But the van to me might be an autonomous van, right? We've seen other companies, for example, Zoox, do a bit of the same, and I think we might see the same with Tesla. Tesla might be going in the same way, those self-driving transportation vans, tourism vans, etc. I think that might be an option, or maybe one of the options. Remember, just because you see two, let's say, cars under sheets here on the slide does not mean that they'll just stop with those two. No, remember, the last presentations, we only saw one car under a sheet. Now there are two cars under sheets. Who knows, maybe in the next presentation we'll see three. Let's wait and see. But the product unveiling, the car unveiling, will be unveiled at a later date. Now, I'd like to touch specifically on the Tesla team, because this is the first time that we actually saw every, let's say, executive, every leader there at Tesla come and present what their team has done throughout the year. Now, Tesla's team is exactly why Tesla is going to win, is exactly why this is going to become the most valuable company on the planet, and it's also exactly why the competition will always be coming for Tesla, will never be in front of Tesla. These aren't just people that joined the company last year, a couple of years ago. No, these are people that have been there for over a decade. They've seen Tesla at its worst, and now they're seeing Tesla at the current best. And if you really listened to management talk, right, you can basically compare Tesla's management team a bit like the human body, let's say, working in a sort of harmony. They're not building a factory based on one team. Every team has their input there. Everything that happens inside a Tesla factory has been optimized so that every team will benefit from it. There are no outside contractors. If they can do it in-house, it's going to happen in-house. I'd like to compare, let's say, Tesla's team to like the Chicago Bulls 3-peat team. I mean, nobody can beat them. No team today can beat them. No team back in the day could beat them as well. And I'd like to compare Tesla's management team executives just like the Chicago Bulls back in the day. Now, circling back to one of the segments, the energy side of things. We know that the energy side of things is going to be, let's say, as big as the car business, but right now, we're still far, far away from, let's say, hyper growth mode. And you can clearly see here on this slide, right? We're going up and up and up, but there's still a long way to go. And by the way, there are 2 new products for 2023. What are those? I don't know. We'll get to know maybe at a later date. Again, maybe a product day might happen in 2023. Now, when it comes to demand, as Elon said, the demand will basically be infinite. Now, of course, if demand is infinite, how can you build so many products? Where do you get your resources, right? Scary thing. Oh, we're going to take so much resources from Earth, we're going to run out. Well, clearly they presented something that says otherwise. So they basically said, the more you look, the more you'll find. And it's, let's say, basic human instinct to say that, well, somebody is using this a lot, so we might be running out of it. But no, if you actually go and look for stuff, then you might suddenly be surprised at how much of that certain resource there is. Then when you're looking for one resource, maybe you can find other resources as well. And again, you can clearly see here on the chart what will happen, what is actually happening. And now, more on the resources, right? More on the supplier side of things. Tesla, again, this is why they're the best at what they do. Because if, let's say, someone cannot supply them with whatever they need, then they say they'll do it in-house even though they don't really want to, right? We've talked about the future. If we have to, we'll build these type of factories, refineries, mining stuff, you name it. Just giving examples here, we'll build that stuff on our own. But we'd love it if our partners could do it as well. And that's why right now, Tesla is one of those companies that is helping those partners a lot, and that will benefit them in the long term. Because yes, some partners, some of these suppliers do not have the amount of cash, the amount of knowledge, let's say. By knowledge, I mean the best of the best workers working at them. They just don't have the luxury. And that's when Tesla comes in and helps them with that, which obviously will help them in the future, which makes total sense. And this again just shows the strength of the Tesla team and Tesla as a business. And now I'll skip the FSD part of things because, as you know, me, Robotaxi, FSD, I think we're still far, far away from it. Of course, the data, the things that they've showed us, very, very impressive, very interesting. Fortunately, I'm not going to talk about that in this video, but I am going to touch on the robot side of things. Now, the robot, the video that they showed us, of course, it's a video. It's pretty impressive how far they've come in a short amount of time. Remember the first, let's say, demo that we've got from the robot was pretty ridiculous. But right now, what you can see in the video is pretty remarkable if you're asking me. And I'll repeat, Elon said, this side will be worth more than the car side of the business. Now, with regard to the car side, they reached 4 million cars built, so congrats on that. Obviously, right now, we're a bit more than that since yesterday night, but still a huge, huge milestone. And now, some people might have called this day not investor day, but maybe manufacturing day. Why? Because Tesla is basically reimagining the way you're building a car. Now, it used to be made, well, the way you manufacture a car is used to be made so that humans could build it in a very efficient way, right? When Mr. Ford came out with this idea, it's basically to make a car in a more efficient way, but it was not thinking about the, well, future in 100, 150 years from when they started. No, humans should be able to build cars more easily. But what happens today? Today, we're thinking about, well, the next step, making the car faster, more efficiently, but for who? For humans to build it or for robots? Remember, it's all connected. There will come a time where, like I said, they'll turn the lights off and the factory will keep on running. The way they are starting, or the way the next gen platform will be building cars, will be optimized so that the machines, the robots, will have it much easier to do these things 24/7, 365 a year. And this is where basically it's game over. You've created a money printing machine. Now, of course, we're not there yet. Yes, finally, we've got that statement, that official statement from Tesla that the Mexico factory is announced. Now, they did say that this factory will be dedicated for the next-gen platform. But, very important to know that it does not mean that other factories won't build next-gen vehicles. But that factory will be specifically for the Gen 3 platform. Now, when will they start building that factory? Probably pretty soon. And usually, what does it take? Around a year or so. So that means that production of the next-gen car might be the end of 2024. Which means that they have until the end of 2024 to launch a refresh for Model 3, Model Y, optimize the way that these factories, the current Austin, Berlin, Shanghai factory, even maybe a bit Fremont, modify a bit those factories, create some upgrades to be ready for the end of 2024. And this basically means that the announcement for the next-gen car is probably going to be towards the back half of this year. Yes, you'll have 1 year time to wait for your new car. I think that's okay. And I think you can basically conclude this whole presentation, this whole investor day in, well, basically saying that they're going to do more with less, with a smaller footprint, but things are going to go much faster from here. It's going to be cheaper for them to make the cars, to make the products, and it's going to be cheaper for us to buy those products. And this is basically summarizing the whole event, right? We can probably see the progress already with the Model 3, 2018, and then 2022, 30% less in cost per car. Now the next-gen vehicles obviously should be around 50% less cost. And again, this will basically announce that the game is over for everybody else. I mean, they basically showed the whole world, showed every competitor out there, this is what we're going to do. Try and catch us. It's basically that. Will they catch them? I'll probably put money on the no, they won't. Now, of course, I can talk about this for a long time. I still make the Saturday summer video of the other things that happened throughout this week. But to me, to say that this event was unnecessary, well, to me, either you're looking for some short-term catalyst because either you're a fund manager and you need a little pump, you're a short-term investor, you're maybe trading, you have some options expiring, or 3, you just don't understand what they're doing here. I mean, you cannot tell me that you've watched the whole thing. By the way, those of you that watched the live stream with me, thank you very much for sticking around for around 4 hours. I appreciate that. Now, you cannot tell me that this was not impressive. This is their road to become the most valuable company on the planet, one of the most profitable, if not the most profitable company ever. I mean, how can you not be excited? Of course, time horizon is different with each and every investor, and that's fine. It's what they presented is not going to happen tomorrow or next week or even next year. It's going to take some time. But hey, I've got time. I'm young. If you're a long-term investor, you have time as well. Just enjoy the ride, of course. Do share your thoughts down in the comments below from the investor, from what I've told you in this video. If you enjoy this type of videos, leave it a thumbs up, subscribe if you have not, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.